Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the session two for app development using Flutter. Today, we have with us Siddharth Chopra, who has a demonstrated history of working in the computer software industry. He is skilled in C++, Android, Java, Android development, Flutter, cloud, DevOps, and AI. And he has a strong business development professional with the Bachelor of Technology degree from University of Petroleum and Energy Studies, Dehradun. Today, he would be walking you through the introductory session on Flutter, which is an open source mobile application development framework created by Google, and guide you on how to create fast, quality, and beautiful apps for iOS, Android, and web, all from a single code base. So I welcome you today with us, Siddharth. Thank you so much for joining us.
So thank you so much, ma'am, for the warm introduction. So yeah, hello everyone. My name is Siddharth Chopra, as ma'am mentioned. So let's start with the mobile app development. So I'm sharing my screen. Do let me know once it is visible.
Yes, it is visible, Siddharth, and I'll be backstage. Let me know if you need something.
Okay, sure.
Thank
So yeah, guys, let's just start. So before starting with the mobile app development, like we should first know like why to choose actually the mobile app, right? Like web development also exists, and you might have known HTML, CSS, and JavaScript also, and few other technologies related to the web app development, right? So like why to learn a new technology like for the mobile app development, you need to learn a new framework, language, etc. So like why to shift from web to mobile? Like from the years we have been creating web apps. So like what's so special about the mobile app, right? So like to answer this question, like I would be using this graph to explain a little bit of the things like why the people started shifting from the mobile usage to the like from the web usage to the mobile usage, right? So like this is the graph which shows the broadband internet usage from 20, from 2005 till 2021, as you can see. And the another yellow line which in the graph you can see the mo- mo- mobile internet usage here. So as the broadband internet line, there's not so much growth. It is just a basic straight line here. And when you see the mobile app graph, like it the mobile internet usage graph, it keeps on increasing. Like it is an exponential increase here, right? So like why is it so? What's so special in the mobile app usage? Like if I give you an example of Uber, like so what would you prefer? The using a web app, they are like first heading to the page, like log in it again, and then entering the location of where you need to go. And if you use the mobile app, like you just have to open that app. It will automatically fetch the location using the GPS here in the mobile app system. And then if the driver comes, it will automatically show you the notification, of course. So like it will there will be a better experience in the mobile app. The convenience will be better, like to use the mobile app here. Even the user interface which I can talk will be a better here, right? So here are few things. And apart from this, in the mobile app you can also get an offline functionality. Like if I give you an example of the WhatsApp, right? So the WhatsApp, the mobile version, and the WhatsApp web version, which is completely different, right? So what happens in the web version, like if there is a no internet, you can't access to the previous messages, right? But if you use the WhatsApp, like in the mobile phone itself, like so you will be having an offline functionality. Even you don't have the internet, you can check the previous photos, messages of your friends and family here. So this is another benefit of the mobile app which you can get. And another, then of course the personalization would be better, like you can see the theme. And also again the user interface and experience, it's better in the mobile phone because it is specific to screen size. If the screen size is bigger, you don't have to, again in the website you have to bit a zoom and all. So the compatibility of the screen size and the experience is of course better in the mobile app. Another thing at the as the development and the owner is security. Like if I create a website and an app, so of course an app would be a better option in terms of security, because in the web version, like anyone can see my API calls and all. And if I create a mobile app, and especially for iOS, like so you can only install an app using the app store here. So so the security level is completely high because the user can only use the original version of the app. So it is more secure, so your data will be more encrypted and more secure here. So here are few things which mobile app has rule over the web app. So I have covered few like security points, the development side, and another things which are covered from the user perspective. Okay, like we as a user choose more to use a mobile app than the web app. So yeah, let's start with the development part. So before I start with the app development part, so there are two things in the mobile operating system. Like first we cover the mobile operating system. So there are two major operating system here. First one is the Android, which we all know, and another one is the iOS. Yeah. So one is backed by Google, and another is backed by Apple here. So if you want to create an app for the iPhone, then you have to create an app for iOS, and if you want to create an app for the Android operating system, then you have to learn Android. So like at the start when Android and iOS were introduced by Google and Apple as well, so they have decided the language and the framework. Like if you want to create an app for Android, you have to learn few specific language to that, and if you want to create an app for iOS, then you have to learn few specific language to that. So if you guys want to create an app for Android at the traditional, like when they have started, so at that time they have told us that you have to either learn Java or Kotlin to create an app for Android, specific to Android. And if you want to create an app for iPhone, then you must have to learn the language called Swift. So this was a pattern which was keep creating an app from when they've introduced both of things. So yeah, so these are two major operating system in the mobile app field, that is Android and iOS. Yeah. So these are not only, but these are the most two popular use. So we will be only covering this operating system here in the lecture. And apart from this, like these are not only ways to create an app. Again, I'm saying, but these are the two which are preferred by the owners, like Google and Apple. Like okay. So let's go again with and start with the field of mobile app development here. So let's start with the mobile. So as I told, there are two ways, two operating system, that is Android and iOS. So there are two major things to create an app development. Okay, so there are two ways actually to proceed with the mobile app development. First one is called the native app development, and another like we will be focusing. What is another one? Okay, so first let's go with the native app development. So again, which as I told, there are two operating system. First one is Android, another one is iOS. So what native actually means here, like to create an app individually, either for Android or for iOS. Like if I want to create an app, so of course, like as a company, I will think to create an app for Android as well and iOS as well. So if I want to create an app for different platforms, Android and iOS, then I have to learn a specific language which I have told, like Java or Swift or iOS. So I have to hire two different developers here to create an app for the native, like specific to a platform. Native means specific to a platform. I am creating an app either for Android, either for iOS here. So the language I've already told. So another one is hybrid. So what hybrid means here? Like in native, you will be creating an app specific to a platform, but in hybrid there will be a single code base, and then that single code base will be used in a multiple platform. So hybrid actually means there will be a one code and or a framework. So one code can be used to create an app for Android as well and iOS as well. So it is a better option, I must say. Like you don't have to learn two different technologies here. Like either like first you like both of the apps, like you have to cover Android as well iOS. So you have to either learn Java, Kotlin, or Swift as well. So it will take a much time for you to understand both of the things. And if a new version you have to introduce of your app, then again you have to make changes in both the apps. So hybrid here is the much better option now these days. So there are two ways to create hybrid mobile apps, though two popular ways, I must say. First one is the React Native, and another one is the Flutter. So as I told, first one is backed by Google and iOS was by Apple. So here React Native is backed by Facebook here, and Flutter is backed by Google. So I have used the Java, Swift, and Flutter as well. So like when I first started my journey, I started with Java. At that time, Flutter was not so much popular, or I must say stable version at that time. But when I started using Flutter, like I switched from Android that Java part to Flutter completely, because I found that Flutter is much more fast. The UI convenience is much better, and you can create the fully functional app in almost half of the time as if you need to create an app with the Java itself. I'm not saying Java and Swift that it is saving time. It is just saving time with the Java. So if I compare the both of the platform, like it will save definitely so much time for you. So let's start with the Flutter. What actually Flutter is? So let's directly go to the website of Flutter and see what actually Flutter is. So yeah, here is the website of Flutter. As you can see, build apps for any screen here. So here is the website of Flutter. It is fast, productive, flexible, and here you can find each and everything about Flutter. So these are the few companies like which is using already Flutter to create their app. Google, Ema, Toyota, eBay, Dream11. These apps are already created in Flutter. So again, let's go here and yeah. So let's start with the Flutter. So Flutter is a cross-platform app. So that means a single code base can be used to create an app for Android, iOS as well, and that's not enough. Like Flutter also introduced a web app that a single code base can be used to create an app for three different platforms. Like if I want to create, of course, I will be creating a website also, Android also, app also, and iOS app also as a company. So just a single code base can be used to create an app for Android, iOS, and web app. So it will save a lot of time for me. So like as a company perspective, like I have to create Android, iOS, and web app. So I have to hire three different people for this for the developers, right? So it will save a lot of time for me, money also. It will be saving because I have to pay three different developers here. So time also it will save to create and three different things. Money it will be saved. And what if like I have to introduce a new functionality? Then the same functionality I have to use for Android, iOS, and web app. So it will so it is like a loop. Again I have to hire developer if I'm doing freelancing. So again I will be I will have to give the hire three more developers to introduce a new feature. So again it is time and money consumption. So by using Flutter it will save your time, money as well. And yeah, and that's not enough. So this was the Flutter version 2. By they have introduced Android, iOS, and web. And here they doesn't stop, and they also introduce desktop. That means you can use single platform, single code base to create Android, iOS, web, and as well desktop app. So what I means here by desktop apps, the the app we have in Windows, Mac, and Linux. So three operating system they support: Windows, Mac, and Linux. And that's not enough. If you want to create an app for the embedded system, you can even create that. So Flutter also support embedded system. So one single framework can use create Android, iOS, web, desktop, and embedded system. So that is the power of Flutter. Again, when we go to the website and I hover over the multi-platform, here you can see mobile, web, desktop, and embedded. If I go to like mobile, they can show here what all platform they support. Here are the docs and the apps which are currently using Flutter. So PUBG Mobile, Tonal, and this all apps you can support. You can head into the website to know more about this. Again, if we see web, desktop, embedded, like if I go to the embedded, Toyota itself is using Flutter to create their apps in car. So yeah, here also they have a case study of Toyota. If you want to read, you can read. So embedded basically means, if you don't know embedded system, so embedded system means to create an app. Like if I give you an example of a smart home, like to on and off the light directly on the screen itself. If you want to turn on AC, so that thing you can do using this. And desktop, if I go, so desktop, the platform they support is Linux, they support Windows, they support, and Mac they support. So all the major platform they support. So Flutter started with their journey with the mobile app development, and they removed the mobile and they completely shifted to the app development. That is, if you want to create an app, you can just head on to this one single thing. So that is the basic introduction of Flutter, like how it is. So again, there's a major functionality as an app developer. What? So at the start, I used to create an app for Java. So what actually happens in Java? Like I have to learn two different things. Like first one is the XML. So XML was used to create UI, and the Java or Kotlin can be used to create the backend app here. So what actually happens here is in the mobile app, like if I create a small change, like I have to just change the color or the font size here, then I have to install that app. So it is take the app, the time to build it around take 2 to 3 minutes in building the app, and again installing take around 1 minute. So if a small change, it takes around 4 to 5 minutes in the complete process. If there's again a small change, then again I have to wait for 4 to 5 minutes, right? So like it is take a lot more time in the development part, because a small change required 4 minutes to to build and install in the real app device. So now what Flutter here does is like Flutter have introduced a new concept called hot reload. So what actually that means, hot reload? Hot reload means just like when you are coding and just when you save the code, that is just you save that code or click on the hot reload button, it will automatically reflect that code in your real device just in a second. Like if I made a small change about the color or the text size, or even I've added a new button and all that functionality, just by saving it, it will automatically reflect on the real device. So it is saving a lot and lot of more time in developing those apps. So again, as a user perspective also it is a better, because like Flutter supports material UI. So what actually is the material UI? Material UI is introduced by the Google. So what is actually happens, like in the mobile app field, like we have a similar kind of UI everywhere. Like in the Gmail we have a slider there. We are having a drop down kind of button, a button nav bar similar to Instagram. There's an app, there's a body, floating action button and all. So this kind of thing Flutter have already introduced in their UI. So you don't have to waste time. You just have to use that material UI and just you have to write a few syntax, and you will be able to create a beautiful UI. Even in the website they have mentioned this thing, like create beautiful UI with the help of Flutter. So if I say like in the XML field, like it will take a lot and lot more of time to create a basic UI thing, and in the Flutter it will completely save your time and it will be more faster and efficient way to creating the app. So yeah, so this is a introduction of the Flutter, like why I shifted from Java to Flutter, because it is saving my time, money, and all here. So let's start again to create, like what are the process of creating mobile app. So first thing I must say that gather all the requirements. Like the process of creating a mobile app is too large, so like let me explain you step by step. So first, like gather all the requirements here, like what are requirement your app requires. First gather that and write it on a paper. Like example, if you're creating a WhatsApp or an app like a Uber, like a cab service app you are creating. So first it will be having a login sign up page there. So like write it down, the functionality. Like first there will be a user that will be gone to the login sign up page, and after logging in, it will show the cab details of the driver, like where the cab is present. So like we will be using the location service here. So that location service, if you are using WhatsApp, then the message sending part is there. And if there is an app similar to Snapchat, then you must be the turning on the camera there. So these are the requirement first you gather there. And after that, after gathering all the requirements, start creating the wireframe of the app. So what actually is a wireframe? Okay, so wireframe, in a single line, what I will explain wireframe, like it is a create a simple design on pen and paper. Like what actually, how you actually want that app, like placing an image, it can be placing a button there, and like if it is an e-commerce app, then there is a photo, and below that photo there's some text, and then add to cart button there. So like you can also create that app either on the Figma. You can use the website which is the most popular used while creating the wireframe. And if you don't know Figma, it is not a big deal. You can just create the wireframe in the using pen and paper. So let's go to wireframe. Like I can show you how a basic wireframe looks like. So here is an example of a wireframe that I can show. Like this is a basic UI. This is the basic wireframe of the UI that you will be going to build after you are clear with the functionality now. So here, like they've added a logo, a login text field, password field, forward password button, login with Facebook, registration here, and here all the pages. So first, what you need to know. So what first you need to do is create all of the wireframe of each and every page. Like by clicking this button, like it will go to this page, and by clicking the button, like where it is gonna go. So create each and every page here. First page, second page, each and every button, like buttons, like by clicking on this button, the user will go to this page. By clicking on this button, user will be going to that page. So the wireframe will clear the, like how your workflow will be there. So yeah, after gathering requirement, after creating wireframe, the third thing which you should know is divide into multiple modules. Like before you start coding, divide your app into multiple modules here. So what I mean by multiple module here, so again let me give you an example of the Uber itself. So first module can be the login sign up page, second can be the cab service, the third one can be the payment page. So This is a basic example. First, what I can say is login. So let's break the app in three modules. Login. Another one is the cab booking, and like itself in the cab booking there can be multiple modules, and the third one like I can say is the payment, like integrate the payment gateway. So what like breaking into multiple modules, like if you are a team, so it will be a better option like like if you are three developers, so you can divide each and everything by, and you can start working parallelly there. So and even if you are working alone, it will be a better option, like you will be clear like what first thing should I create. It can be even I can create first this, and after that I can create this. It is completely your choice, like it is not a thing like you have to create first page first and then after you go to the functionality. So yeah, so this is all, and after you gather divided into multiple module, you can start with the backend code. So what I mean by backend code, it's not related to the DB part, but the backend here means like to create the functionality of the app. Okay, like here what I say in the functionality in the image which I've showed, like the functionality can be like what will happen if I click on the login button. So it will save the data to the database, and what will happen if I click on the registration button. So it will head on to the next page, and what all things will happen in the background. In the example of WhatsApp, like what if I click on the send message button, it will go to the message to the server, and it will go to the other person phones. So first start with the backend functionality. You can, and another that things that comes right after that is the UI. You can just choose which one to create first. It is not a specific rule that either you can create the UI of the app and or you can create the functionality of the app. So what I prefer is like first I used to create the functionality of the app, because UI can be changed anytime. From the start I want my UI color to be blue, and after sometimes like I doesn't like that UI color, so I can change that UI. Like if we all have used Instagram, so even the Instagram keeps changing the UI each and every day with the new update and all. So UI can be changed anytime, but the functionality wise it will be once only. So if the functionality is good, like you can change the UI anytime. So this is the order which I follow. But if you want that you are not good with the functionality and you don't know, so you can start creating the UI itself first. So when I told about UI, user UI is a user interface, like how your app will look like. So if you want to take reference like how other apps looks like, so you there is a website called Dribble. You can use this website Dribble. So what actually happens here is you can take the reference of the designer all over the world here. So like if I want to create an app related to the music app, let's say I want to create. So in the music app, when I head on to Dribble and when I click on mobile here, so there are multiple designs which I can see here. Like there is a UI of the, I'm not signed in here. Let me sign in. So here I can see the UI. So like you can see that like how the music app look like. There is a bottom navigation bar here, and another there is a menu thing here. There's a search bar, so you can take a reference from here. So there are multiple things I can say. Not even for the mobile app, you can find the design for anything here. Like if you want to create a logo, also that you will find various designs of logo here. So this website is a complete uh, uh, for the designers, like for the web illustrations you can find print product design, each and everything you will find here. Like if I go to the web design also, you will find various web design here. So you can take reference from here, and yeah, again let's go here. So this whole thing we have covered: get the requirements, wireframe, module, define into multiple modules, create the functionality of the app, UI, and after creating the UI, the it comes is testing. So what actually testing means here, like uh, testing here means like it is not like you create an app and you test in your emulator or in your real device. What I must suggest it, before publishing the app you must try to run this app in the real device in at least 10 different devices. So what actually happens here, like in the web version, like it is not recommended that you need to try it in the 10 different phones or the 10 different PCs. But when it comes to mobile, like I must say that you have to run in at least 10 if you are using Android. Okay, in iOS, like it is not so, like because the only the screen size is almost same. They are using mini and mini iPhone and the Pro Max series. So there are only three screen sizes. But in the mobile, if you're using Android, like there are thousands of screen size available in the market. Even they have the foldable phone and they have everything. So what I must say, like you need to try in different brands, like which support different version of the Android here. So first try to install each and everything. Like there might be a question like how can I manage to get 10 different phones? Like you can use your friend or anyone in the family to just install and test the app, like how it is working. And if you are getting any bugs related to screen size or anything else, then that you can fix. Because if directly the user started to using that app and if they face any bug or issue like that, so they won't use your app again. So testing is the it will take some time for you to test in each and every phone, but I will suggest like at least test in the 10 different devices. So after testing, what you can do is to publish the app. So as I mentioned, there are two operating systems we are focusing here, Android and iOS. So the procedure also is different to publish in Android and procedure different to publish in iOS here. So in order to publish an app for Android, the preferred option is Play Store. Google Play Store you can use to publish your app. And for iOS, it is App Store. It is the same like what we use to download our apps. So yeah, you have to pay us subscription fees here to gain the play Google Play console. The developer account you have to buy for both of these. So it is around $25 for and Play Store and $99 for App Store. So you have to purchase that and then you have to submit your app there. So after building that app there, you will be gaining some kind of app bundle or APK app bundle in the Android here. So that thing you have to upload there in their console. So you you have to submit few things like what are permissions you are taking and how you are using that data. And apart from that, they will be asking many things about the color screenshots you have to present, and their team will then review the code. So it takes around 7 days in Android, and if they found an issue, they will tell you to give more information about that. And if you are using sign in with that, then you have to give your credential also, so their team will try that app and they will review it. Like if you're not doing scam and all that, then it will be published within a week. And similar is the case for App Store also. Like you have to build a file there and then you have to upload that file to their console there. And after the team, like Apple takes a lot more time than the Play Store to upload their app. Like they test a lot of things. So this is a thing of publishing. You can, if you want to know more about that, you can read the documentation and the steps about all those, the description you need to mention. So there are many more things, so I'm not covering much about this here. Then another one comes after this is V2. So V2 is version 2 here. Like the development part doesn't end here, like after even after you publish the app. So like you have to start working with another version of the app, like the feedback you are getting from the user or introduce a new functionality again, then you have to start working on that and create an app for the version 2 itself. So again, after creating, matlab, to use the version 2, again the same things start happens. You gather the functionality, create a wireframe from for that, divide the multiple modules about the version 2 and create a functionality UI, and again so go here publish the same. Again their team will review and this cycle will go on about this mobile app development. So that is about mobile app development, which I've shown you. There are two platforms, so functionality wise and all. So let me give you an example by showing one of my app to you here. So here is the app which is called the Developer Assistant, which I created during my college time here. So here is the app called Developer Assistant. So what it is, like a Google Assistant but specific to developers here. So here are five different modules here. First one is AWS, Docker. Another one is the compiler, Python, C compiler, C process compiler. Fourth one is this install configure part. I will explain you all these five. And last one is the Linux. So yeah, let's start with the Linux here. So as you can see, the UI is a bit similar to WhatsApp. Like here I've added assistant, added Linux, developer assistant, added AI. So what actually happens here is, like when I was in my first year itself, so there was a problem for me to understand each and every command of the Linux operating system. So it is very much difficult for me to even create a folder. Like I have to use some command. So I've created this the developer assistant kind of thing. Like what actually happens here is like I just have to give a command in English language and it will automatically run that Linux command in the background. Okay. So it is like I can say it is like a chat GPT but specific to the Linux operating system. It was created 3 years back. So like when I type here hello, it is replying hello Siddharth. So like here I'm telling him to can you please list files. So as the command all we know is the command ls. So I have written the prompt in the English language and in the behind it is running that command in the server. So there's another create a folder. So when I create a folder, it will create a folder. So first it will ask for the folder name or the directory name so I create a test. So as you can see that when I list the files, there is no test folder here. So when I again list the files, it will show the test folder here. So this proves that the test folder is created there. So there are many more functionality which you can do. This like I covered each and every command here. So connectivity to an IP. So it will run the ping command there. So I have entered here the Google IP 888. So when I type that, yes, it shows it run the ping command behind the scene. There are all the major commands which I covered here. So this is the first module of my app. So let's head on to another one, which is install and configure here. So what the install and configure means here, like we as a developer, like each day we have to install or to set up a new environment, like in the Docker, which I say, so install a Docker and install Python, the version 3 point whatever version I have to install, and again the modules in the or the libraries in the Python I have to install. So like to create an environment, it takes a lot more time and to replicate each and everything again and again. So what actually the install and configure means, like just by a single click, you can install a particular software or configure and set up that complete software by just one click. You just have to write a script once. So for the demo, I have write three scripts for the installer of the Docker, configure yum, and install AWS CLI. Actually, the problem it arose during my college time was that like in the lab there are 200 to 300 computers, and if I just want to install a simple version of Java, I have to go on to the 200 300 laptops and I have to install Java specific to version, and again I want to install SQL. Again I have to go to 200 300 system. So by using this app, you can just click on that one and it will completely install 200 system in just by single click. So it will save a lot of time. So this was the second version of the app. The another one is a compiler here. So like as a developer, like you need to code at any time if you don't carry a laptop. So as I told, this app is specific to the developer assistant. So like what all things a developer needs I created in the app. So there are three programming languages in the app that it supports now: the C++, and Python. So here are the all the major popular VS Code themes also it is mentioned. And when we click on the run button, it shows the output here. So again, C compiler here, and yeah, you can check here C compiler, and again we have created an ID kind of experience. Like if you space like the number here, like it is easier to debug and all there. So let me fast forward to Python also, like the in Python we have kind of indentation, like we don't use square brackets now. So for the UI perspective also we have added the indentation part here. Like so what if I added a for loop here, and if I add a space here, so yeah, I will get an indentation kind of thing which it supports. So let's forward to Docker. So if you don't know, Docker is a containerization, like it is a tool which support containerization. So what actually in the Docker, like in Docker also we have a lots and lots of commands there, like to start a container, to pull an image, to stop a container. Like again and again we have to run the similar command, like the same command I have to run multiple times here. So what I've done, like I created a UI specific to a Docker. Like if I want to start a service, I just have to go there and start the service there. So by clicking it, it will start the service. And yeah, so as I can see, then again if I have to launch the container, then I have the container name I can enter, image name I can enter, and the version. At the behind the scene, it will run the docker run.it command that's itself. So yeah, so as I can see here, the container ID is printed, and if I go to running containers, I can see that container which I have just launched here. So the try OS I can see, and the uptime is 8 seconds. I can even stop that. So the beautiful UI I've created here, like just swipe there, and you can click stop or terminate button to delete that here. There's also a refresh button here. So if a new thing you have launched, another thing if you have to launch. So this all UI you can easily create in Flutter. That I'm trying to say. So here are the images you can see to delete an image. Here you just have to swipe there. So this is another thing of functionality of the Docker to pull an image, to run a container, to delete an image, to delete a container. So there's another thing. If you just want to see the running container here, you can see, and that I've stopped that, so you can see here. If the container is stopped here, and it will change the color to red, and you can even start the container again by just swiping it here, that and just clicking on the start button. So another functionality which I was having is the voice also. Like if I have to stop all the container, I just can say stop all the container, and it will stop all these container. So if you're using that command, like it is like you have to run each and every command once again and again to use like basic thing, and just like it save a lot and lot of time. So this was the fourth module of that app. So I think it is now clear. So another one is the AWS. So few services which I've used, like to if I have to start an instance, stop an instance, I again and again have to use my PC and to just start instant, create an S3 bucket, and also it is like a time consuming process. But like as mobile app is handy, so you can use that mobile app to create a bucket, list for bucket, and start and all. So here I think this version, the video I am having is the previous version. So here only three services are here. So if you create, and so here I created, so date here is there. So yeah, so that is all the app here. What actually in the app, like like the five things which I mentioned, like gather all the requirements. So the requirement here is in the app are the all different modules here which have, okay, I have to use the Linux, Docker, Python, and all these things. Second thing which I've told you is like after gathering all that requirement, like create a wireframe. So the wireframe can be here of the AWS which I've shown, like different thing, or the Linux which I show is the similar to the chat app which I can create. There will be a button, there will be a text field and all. So after gathering this all, like divide into multiple modules. So like we have divided into multiple modules, like AWS different module, Linux different modules. So divided into multiple modules there. And after dividing that, the modules start creating a functionality. And if you create the functionality, then you can focus on the UI. That like here in this page, like I tried to create the not exactly like a WhatsApp, but a basic UI, like because the chat app is WhatsApp is the best that we use in India. So then create an images for that to create a better user experience. So like the Flutter wise, if I told, like if I have to create this app using the Java or any other language, so it will take a lot of time. So like I use Flutter to create this app, and this app was complete from start till the end. The like I showed you in the video, it was created in just 2 days there. So that is the benefit of Flutter here. Okay, that the UI part, I don't need to focus at all. I just have to go there and use few things. And another thing that Flutter support is pub.dev. So what actually is the pub.dev? So it is a website which is the official repository of Dart and Flutter. Okay, so Dart I have not introduced. Like Flutter is a framework, and the programming language it uses is Dart. Like Flutter is a framework, and the programming language in which you will be coding will be Dart. So it is a functional programming language again. So it is like syntax wise it is same, and it supports functions inside function and all. So you can know more about that here. So pub.dev, like even if a new thing is introduced, like chat gpt have introduced, so if you want to integrate chat gpt in the app itself, so you can find major chat gpt api client and all. So like the as Flutter is open source, so the we as a user, and there are many contributors here which are contributing toward this app. So it is like like if you want to integrate ChatGPT in your app, it will just take few hours to create that same thing, because another guy who has created, you just have to use those things if you don't know from scratch. So this that is about that the pub.dev package. Now again, let's go to the development again. So in the mobile app development, there are three things which are there. First one is the UI, that you need to figure it out how UI looks like. Second one is the backend, or I say is the server side language. And third one is the DB, that is database. Yeah. So UI side, Flutter is the best, I must say. And the backend side, uh, if you're using Amazon, like, okay, so let me explain you server side what it means. So there is an app. So like we have placed an order. So what actually happens after the order? So when I place an order, so there's an Amazon server which will accept that order, and it will tell the seller that yeah, this thing happens. So the thing after you place an order or you make an payment, so whatever things happens in the background in their server, that also you need to figure it out. So in the mobile app field, the basic thing is basically a UI itself, like mobile interface. Like it, there's not much functionality. It will take an order, it will do an API call there to place an order, and if the order ships again, there's an API call, and it will display in the mobile screen. So this is the first phase, which of the user interface side. Okay, it is basically a UI kind of thing. Another thing is the server side. So here you need to figure out which programming language you should use in the server side, like to connect with the seller and do the all the functionality, to calculate in the Uber, if I say to calculate the fare and all. So this is the server side thing which I thing. So example, if I can say, Python can be used as server side language, Java can also be used as a server side language here. The third thing there is DB, database. So which database you actually need to use? So there are two kind of database which are used in the market. First one is the SQL, and another is the NoSQL. So NoSQL means not only SQL here. So what does it means? Not only SQL. Like in the SQL, if you know, like we have a schema or table kind of thing. Like there are rows and columns of the fields. Yeah. So what actually in the NoSQL happens is NoSQL doesn't have any table kind of structure. Like you don't have any table there. You just create a collection and the entries there. So what actually happens here? Let me give you an example that SQL doesn't support, but NoSQL support. Like if a user have two phone numbers, okay, so like you have created a column for phone number, okay, like but another user have to enter another phone number, so you have to create another column for that, and only five user enters those things. And if another thing enter, like let me give you an example of address. Like if you support multiple address, so like you have created a column for address here, one address. So if a user have another address, so you have to create another column for that. And if user want to enter another third address, and you have to save all three address of him, you have to keep on adding column and column and column of there. And the most of the column, the data entry will be like not there, as not all the user will be entering all this address. So in the NoSQL, like specific to a user, like a collection will be there for a user. And if you want to add multiple address, you just have to create that field. So this is the benefit of using NoSQL over SQL. This is the one of the advantage. So as NoSQL means not only SQL. So in the app development field, the NoSQL is more preferred. I'm not saying it is only used. You can even use SQL there, but it is the more preferred option. So let me give an example of a NoSQL database. So MongoDB is the example of NoSQL database, and another one I can say is the Firestore, which is a service by Firebase. So let me tell you quickly introduce the Firestore service. Sorry. Firestore here, Firebase here. So what actually Firebase means here? So in the mobile app field, like when we come to the database part, like first thing what the user wants is the authentication, like log in with phone number, email, OTP, etc. Second thing is DB. So when it comes to DB, there are two things, like storing the text form of data, and another one is uploading file type of data. So file can be emails, video, audio, etc. Emails, video, audio. So you must be needing a server to store all of these things. So there is the like cloud platform, that is Google Cloud Platform. There's a service called Firebase. So what actually in the Firebase happens, like Firebase provide all of these three services here, and it is a managed service, so you just have to use. And their support with the Flutter is like very much good. Like you just have to write two or three lines of code, and you will be able to introduce email, password authentication, phone number, Google sign in, Facebook sign in, GitHub sign in, and all those things they already support here. And when I come to the DB, like they have both of these two different types of DB they support. For the text, they support Firestore, and to store the object files, object kind of files, they have a service called storage service. So all of these three things you can support in the Firebase. So again, let's go to Firebase and you will know more about it. So again, you can see it is by Google. Set up and make your app the best it can be. So it is the most preferred way of creating a mobile app to use this DB here. It will also show you the crash analytics, like where your app is getting crashed. It can even integrate with the Google AdSense, like if you want to like uh, like what are the analytics of the ads, like if you are using ads in your app. So here easy to integrate on iOS, Android and web. So here you can find the syntax of the all those things, and if you see any project you can know more about it. So I think I've covered like a basic introduction of the mobile app. You got like user interface, how to create the what kind of backend you have to use, and the steps to pop up from gathering till the end of the app. Like I've covered. So yeah, I think for last 10 minutes are left. We can go with the questions. If you have any questions, you can ask. Right, stop. So one question which I've got is like, does Flutter needs programming skills? Yes, you have to learn the programming. As I mentioned, that Flutter uses Dart as a programming language. So yes, you have to first learn that programming language called Dart. So before you start learning Dart, I must say like at least you know any other programming language. So it will be very easy for you to shift towards the Dart. And even if you don't know any language, you can like you can even use Dart as first as your first programming language itself. So if you have any other questions, you guys can ask. Let's wait for 2 3 minutes. I think there are no more questions, so we
Yeah,
can.
I don't see any questions coming in, but yeah, in case you have any questions, once you revisit the video and you can have a look at it. And in case you have any questions, please feel free to write to us. You already have my email ID. Write to us, and I will connect you with Siddharth, and we can take it forward from there. Thank you so much, Siddharth, for being here this morning. This is our morning in India, so thank you so much for that. And we look forward to a better in depth session with you sometime later. Thank you.
Sure, sure. Thank you so
Thanks.
much, ma'am, for inviting.
Thank you.